Thank you, Chi. Merci pour tout ce que tu fais. Quel plaisir d'être ici avec vous tous ce soir. C'est un privilège de pouvoir prendre la parole encore une fois devant tant de femmes qui se battent à chaque jour pour l'égalité. I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking an extraordinarily special guest, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Madam President, what a privilege to be able to have spent time with you this afternoon once again and to be continually inspired by your incredible leadership and hard work as you fight for women's rights around the world. Glad to be here as well with Minister Soraya Martinez Ferrada, because showing up matters. And on that, I want to give an opportunity to every single member of my caucus, Liberal MP, there's about 20 of you, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Merci pour tout ce que vous faites. And because showing up matters, I also want to give a huge shout out to my fellow party leaders, Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May, who consistently show up for Equal Voice and for everything they do. Thank you. C'est sûr qu'en français, on a une expression, les absents ont toujours tort. Pierre Poilievre, tu as tort de ne pas être ici ce soir. Equal Voice was founded 23 years ago with a straightforward mission: get more women elected across Canada. That's a mission that we share. It's why we funded as a government Daughters of the Vote and the Modernizing Legislatures project. It's why I've touted the adage, add women, change politics, which to us is more than just words. We've taken action to make it a reality, appointing the first female finance minister. Under Stephen Harper, 32% of judges appointed were women, 56% under this government. Under the new Senate appointment process, that chamber is now majority women, as is the Supreme Court. And of course, the first thing I did as Prime Minister was appoint the first gender-balanced cabinet in Canadian history, and under my leadership, that'll always be the case. It's not just in federal politics. Elsewhere across the country, your hard work and advocacy has made important progress as well. This year, British Columbia elected the first ever provincial legislature where a majority of members are women. But of course, as important as representation is, it's also a means to an end, not just an end in itself. Representation matters because when women are properly represented in our politics, better choices are made for women and for the country as a whole. Choices such as Canada-wide childcare after 50 years of trying. The first ever federal gender-based violence strategy and bringing in tougher gun laws that directly protect women. And of course, soon, free prescription contraceptives, because we don't just believe in a woman's right to choose, we act on it. Now, appropriately, today, December 10th, is Human Rights Day. And standing up for human rights means standing up unequivocally for women's rights. On doit être lucide. Il y a des politiciens qui se battent et votent contre le droit des femmes de choisir. Ce sont des forces régressistes et réactionnaires qui veulent nous faire reculer et réussissent malheureusement trop souvent. Now, it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government. Cette célébration de tout ce que À Voix égale a accompli, c'est aussi l'occasion de réaffirmer notre engagement envers la lutte pour l'égalité pour tous et bien surtout pour toutes. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde. Merci d'être ici ce soir. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. Bonsoir, mes amis.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, happy whatever you celebrate. And I hope this time of year brings you joy, time with your families, time with friends, and most importantly, some hope in the year ahead. I am immensely proud to be in a room with so many change makers, so many that I know, so many that helped me out, united for a common purpose to build a more prosperous country for women and girls, and to have more women in more seats in our chambers and in our legislatures across this vast country. But while this room is united in this goal, I can't help to think that the country is divided. And I'm going to say that we're divided because I think people would rather hurl insults instead of trying to understand anybody who doesn't hold the same view as you do. I think we're divided because leaders in our country and in countries around the world prioritize labels instead of prioritizing substance and action. And most of all, I think we're divided because we've placed diversity of thought on the back burner in an exchange for lofty platitudes of those who believe that all women who hold elected office have to have the same view on every single issue. I said this last year at the podium, and I'm honestly surprised that I got invited back. But that surprise, frankly, is met with some hope that this message is one that a few of you at least agree with. And I want to give you an uncomfortable truth. I was elected not entirely because of rooms like this. A lot of people in rooms like this, for sure. But because I was tested in a hard-fought nomination, earning my right to run in a winnable riding in an election. I was never tokenized or given the opportunity to run somewhere unwinnable to fill an imaginary allocation. I have seen so many in my orbit, in fact, literally care for the children of my campaign manager so she could talk to 100 more people that night. I have seen women in my party rise to positions of great responsibility because of merit, because of excellence, because of intelligence, and not because of quotas. And I think when you think about how do we ensure to have more women in elected office, I think it can't be seeking diversity through uniformity. Otherwise, we end up with the performative political theater I've witnessed in my time here in Ottawa. If you aren't prepared to speak about the rise, the 74% rise in sexual assaults, the 83% rise in human trafficking, the single mothers watering down their milk so they can feed their kids because they can't get by, the brave women standing in Iran against their oppressors, the sexual violence in acts of terror, the missing and murdered Indigenous women that still don't have justice, then why bother pretending any of it matters? I think you're going to hear a lot of pretty words over the course of the night, and I challenge you with this. Take those words and contrast them against the actions of the leaders that are saying those words. Hold the people in positions of power responsible. Take those words and use them as a rallying cry, not just for the how many, but for the why. Why you do this as equal voice, why we all do this for our friends we want to see in elected office. That's the way that we had progress. It's the only way that we have had progress. And it can't be about gendered balanced cabinets or a humankind dictionary. It can't be about other things that pander and demean. It has to be real. It has to be more than symbols. It has to be actual substance. It has to be real results for real people. And I am happy to fight that fight with you every single day of the week. I want to thank Equal Voice for allowing me the chance to have this podium, and I hope that this spurs a conversation, a serious conversation about this organization and so many of you that do the work across the country to make sure that there is more women in office. Thanks very much.